Enemies Within, Episode 1 by Sarah Johnston, inspired by real events. Fade in. Exterior, Main Street, Market Hill, County Armagh, Day 1. Caption, June 1886. Sunny day. A horse and cart moves up Main Street. Shops display their wares outside. A few people are going about their day. Exterior, Curran's Garden, Market Hill, Day 1. Sarah Jane Curran, 24, and her sister, Elizabeth Curran, 21, are inspecting the roses.
Marry when June roses grow. Over land and sea you'll go. Maybe you'll go to America.
Maybe, but in all honesty, we couldn't have left it any longer.
A beat. While the penny drops, Elizabeth, shocked, then excited, hugs her sister with squeals of delight.
Shh! Don't want anyone else to know. They'll think it's the only reason for the wedding. And it's not. Robert and I love each other.
So that explains your wee naps in the afternoon. Have you been sick?
They are interrupted by the shout of a man approaching.
Portabala!
Samuel
Porter, 27, enters in Royal Irish Fusiliers uniform.
Where's this beautiful bride to be?
He kisses Sarah Jane on the cheek. She winces slightly.
How are you?
Grand. Ready for a celebration. My brother's a lucky man.
Samuel catches sight of Elizabeth.
And I also get the pleasure of your sister.
Indeed.
Elizabeth, this is Samuel. Robert's older brother. Would you believe?
Elizabeth holds out a hand, but Samuel doesn't notice, so she retracts it, embarrassed.
Pleased to meet you. And do you have a lucky man?
No, I'm afraid not.
Are you home for long?
Samuel has his eye locked with Elizabeth.
Not long. Not long enough. I'm off to Burma the day after you and Robert tie the knot. So I need to take the most of my freedom.
Aye, and I can smell the drink on you already.
I stayed with an old school pal last night.
Samuel pulls a hip flask from his pocket, shakes it. Empty.
Watch yourself on our wedding day. Robert will skin you alive if you get too drunk, not to mention what your da will do.
So you're to be Robert's best man?
I am, at the moment.
Samuel gives a sideways nod to Sarah Jane and winks. Elizabeth smiles, dropping it as Sarah Jane looks at her.
Are you wearing uniform for the wedding?
No way. Sunday suit, if it fits.
What rank are you?
Samuel removes his jacket, hot, and backs onto a rose bush.
Second lieutenant.
And you'll not be promoted if you tear your uniform.
I was just going to get us some lunch. Would you like to stop for a bite to eat?
Sarah Jane gives Elizabeth a disapproving look.
You'd be more than welcome.
I thought you'd never ask.
Come on in.
Sarah Jane follows them with a look of mistrust. Interior, the Curran's kitchen, after lunch, day 1. Samuel, Elizabeth, and Sarah Jane sit around a table of leftovers. Elizabeth laughs.
No word of a lie.
I've heard that one before, Samuel Porter, and I swear it gets more elaborate every time you tell it.
Sarah Jane gets up, looks out of the window at the sky.
Excuse me. I'm going to go and cut some of those roses before any rain spoils them.
Aye, go on. I'll clear away.
Glad you don't have to rush out too. I was enjoying our conversation. I miss female company when I'm away.
I'm in no rush.
Exterior, the Curran's Garden, afternoon, day 1, continuous. Laughter is coming from the house. Sarah Jane pricks herself on a thorn, goes in to watch it. Elizabeth steps back from Samuel.
You've not played up yet?
I was just about to.
We're getting to know each other.
Elizabeth starts to clear up. Samuel brushes past her, puts a hand on her waist. Sarah Jane slumps in a comfy chair.
Listen, I'm away over to Long Haul to see my dad. But I'll be back tonight to see Robert. Maybe we could pop over for a nightcap about sunset. I know it's late, but this time of year, but it's my favourite time of the day. Whoever sleeps till it's dark, whoever sleeps till it's dark anyway.
Elizabeth gestures to Sarah Jane, nodding off. Samuel and Elizabeth snigger. Their eye contact shows their connection.
I would like that.
Interior, James Porter's house. Longall, afternoon, day 1. Samuel walks in without knocking. His father, James, mid-50s, is just finishing a small afternoon tea.
The prodigal son returns.
Always. I'm just away to wash up my face. Awfully sweaty today.
Samuel goes upstairs to the bedroom, pours water, then tiptoes into a bedroom, onto a creaky floorboard. Freezes, then tiptoes to the dressing table, opens a jewelry box, takes out a wedding band, pockets it, shuts the box, tiptoes out, avoiding the creaky floorboard.
Will I clear this law away, or are you here for a feed?
I'd not long eaten. Popped in on the Kearns. Sarah Jane's sister Elizabeth took pity on me. Lovely girl.
You're probably wondering why you're so skinny. They don't feed you in the army.
James clears the table, briefly leaving the room. Samuel has another look at the ring, hiding it again as James reappears.
We'll be here for your dinner.
I doubt it. I'm going to try and catch Bobby whenever he gets home.
You mind you don't make a nuisance of yourself. They're busy with wedding preparations.
Exactly. I need to have some time with my brother before he gets hitched. Do you have any cider?
No, I do not. It's the middle of the afternoon, for Christ's sakes.
Exit the Curran's exterior, the Curran's garden, Market Hill, sunset, day 1. Robert and Samuel arrive. Robert, 23, combs his hair, greets Sarah Jane affectionately. Elizabeth smiles at Samuel, who guides her with a sense of purpose, away from the other two.
Elizabeth, I'm going to Burma in a few days. I don't know when I'll be back. I was thinking on my way over to Loughborough earlier. What if I don't get a chance again?
What chance?
To spend time with you. To be with you. What I'm saying is, I really enjoyed your company today.
And I enjoyed yours. But I reckon I'll still be here whenever you get back.
Aye, but will you have someone else's ring on your finger? I know it's a lot to ask of you, especially as we've only just met, but will you wait for me? Oh, to hell with it. Elizabeth, would you marry me?
I was going to say yes to the first question. I will wait for you. So, yes, I will marry you.
They kiss. Robert spots them.
Elizabeth Curran, put him down. You don't know where he's been.
Knew it. See, what did I tell you? The way they were this afternoon.
Shall I ask if we can join them?
How do you mean?
Come on.
Samuel leads Elizabeth by her hand. She trots to keep up.
Can I ask you a favour, dear brother? You know how I always share my toys with you whenever I was weak?
I remember a broken hobby horse.
Samuel pulls Elizabeth closer, and holds her hand.
Can we share your wedding day?
How do you mean, share?
Elizabeth has agreed to marry me, but I don't have many days left till I leave for Burma. If it was a double celebration, I mean, it wouldn't make much difference to numbers. You said yourself it's mainly just the two families coming.
Sarah Jane looks at Elizabeth and Samuel, then at Robert.
This is all very sudden.
I said I'm happy to wait for him.
I'm happy to squeeze you in, as long as my bride doesn't object.
A beat, while Robert looks at Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane looks at Elizabeth again, trying to absorb the news.
How could I turn my sister away?
The sisters hug. The brothers slap shoulders. Sarah Jane talks quietly into her sister's ear as they embrace.
I am happy for you, if you're sure this is what you want. Just be careful. You're precious to me, and he's quite a different character to Robert.
I know, and I love his character.
We'll need to sort you out a dress. You can wear my original one. It doesn't fit me anymore.
When do you tell the old folks?
Samuel and Elizabeth look at each other with a look of horror. Interior, the Curran's house, morning of the weddings, day 4. Sarah Jane and Elizabeth are nearly ready. Their mother, Mary Ann Curran, 55, straightens dresses, flowers in hair, etc. Interior, church, Market Hill, morning of the wedding, day 4. Robert and Samuel wait at the altar. Robert studies a ring.
Where do you get the ring?
What?
Elizabeth's ring. Where's it from?
It's on loan, till I can buy one.
On loan or stolen?
I've borrowed it. I'll put it back.
Make sure you do.
Exterior, Market Hill, after the ceremony, day 4. The newlyweds walk from the church. Guests follow. Mary Ann has her eyes fixed on Samuel. Exterior, the Curran's garden, evening, day 4. A dance ends. Some guests leave. Robert grabs Samuel, for a word. Samuel shakes Robert off and goes to find Elizabeth.
Come on, we don't have much time together.
I've hardly spoken to my mother today.
She's not had her eyes off me.
It's only natural. She doesn't know you, and all of a sudden you're married to her daughter, who, come to think of it, doesn't know you very well either.
So come inside and get to know me better. By the way, whatever my father was telling you earlier, don't believe a word of it.
Samuel and Elizabeth go inside. Mary Ann sees Robert put a hand on Sarah Jane's abdomen. Sarah Jane then joins her mother.
Are you happy?
I couldn't be happier, Mummy.
It was the same for me and your dad, you know.
I know.
I mean, your situation. Did Robert feel it move?
Sarah Jane nods, like a child that's been caught out.
Good. That means it's healthy. But you'll need a lot of rest. Away and get your husband to take you home for bed.
Sarah Jane hugs her mother.
I'm staying in Laurel tonight while your sister has her wedding night. Looks like he's ready for the off.
James checks his pocket watch. The women smile at each other. Interior, a bedroom, morning, continuous, day 5. Samuel gets up, gets dressed. Elizabeth wakes in a panic.
Hey, I'm still here.
Samuel gives her a kiss and they hug each other tightly.
Will you write while you're away?
I will, if you will.
I'll write every day. There'll be lots to tell you soon enough.
How do you mean?
Sarah Jane and Robert's baby.
Samuel's reaction shows that he doesn't know.
Did Robert not tell you?
No, he did not. The sly fox. And he was quick to criticize me.
And that's the
Really?
end.
That's the end. Okay. Okay. Shall I start off because I've
Yeah.
while it's fresh in my mind, I didn't make that many notes actually.
Yeah.
I was slightly confused by the day 1, day 4 issue, only because I thought it only says day 1 in the script heading, in the scene heading, but it doesn't indicate a day 1 as a subtitle or anything. You know, it doesn't say this is day 1 of a series of days, and then we go straight to day 4, and my note says, where did day 2 and 3 go? No, and it struck me that maybe the numbering of the days doesn't really matter in the spin of things. We automatically know there's a passage of time. I mean,
Yeah, it's clear.
audiences are quite sensible like that. And Mary Ann has no introduction, so she needs an introduction. Her name needs to be in caps, and we need to know that she's the mother in a little bit of. And the only other thing really that I've noted down is I don't think they'd use the word lunch.
No.
It wasn't called lunch, it was called dinner. If it was at lunchtime, it was dinner. And I come from a family that had dinner at dinner time and never lunch.
Yeah, me too.
And I think if they used the word lunch at all, it would have been luncheon, which is its full word, and they would be much higher up the social scale using that word. That was really my only, like little. Other than that, I liked the characters. I liked the dialogue. I liked the patter between them. I would have maybe have liked it to happen to get to the wedding a little bit quicker. I appreciate that, the one of them is falling for the guy rather fast, which is, again, the missing days 2 and 3. Who knows what happened in days 2 and 3 with them? But didn't he propose on day 1? So that's, I don't know. That just worried me slightly. But yeah, I would like to know what happens to them.
Yeah, I'm intrigued because the title's Enemies Within.
Exactly.
Ooh, what? What's going on? Oh no!
Exactly. What's going on? Yeah. And we've got some indication that he might be a little bit of a rogue character, because it's did you steal it, or it's that kind of. He clearly presenting one face, but there's something else going on. That is this what we find? Is she finds out later that actually he's not how he's presenting himself? And yeah, there's a lot of intrigue in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite gentle
Yeah.
for kicking a story off or kicking a series off.
Yeah.
I wonder if we need more of a kick to kind of grab us at the beginning, because it's at the moment it's a bit like, I don't know, series 4 of Poldark, where it's all got quite comfy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Everybody, it's all right, we can all just have a nice chat about the horse.
You saying that, I'm wondering whether it is one of those cases where the audience needs to have more information than the other characters have. So we have a scene right at the beginning with Samuel. It's Samuel, isn't it? Where Samuel does something so atrocious that we're all going, oh my God. And then he tones it all down and he's lovey-dovey and will you marry me? And at that point you're going, you know. So,
it needs some drama to kind of, because otherwise it's a nice story about some lovely people in Ireland.
Exactly. Okay.
Which is lovely, but won't necessarily grab an audience.
Well, I was thinking that the ring, because he's obviously at his dad's house, I just put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5 and figured it was his mother's ring.
Yeah.
And that's why it's borrowed. But 1886, this would be set, well, if it's to coincide with what actually happened in 1886, this must be May, because June the 1st was the 3rd Anglo-Burmese War. It was when Britain decided to make Burma a protectorate. So they went to war with the Burmese. And they were, principally, they sent over mostly Irish and Scots regiments. And they were, it was reluctantly accepted by the Chinese. Let's put it that way.
Interesting. Okay. Rachael, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't got many notes either, really, which is probably a good thing in a way. I thought there was some nice little subtle bits of comedy in there now and again, which are nice. And yeah, some subtle bits that might hint at different characters and what we might be about to see. I think I agree. I think it would be good to have audience perhaps knowing a bit more with this one than the characters. Actually, I should say, it was nice dialogue between the characters. They felt relatively believable to me for the time, for the most part. Yeah, I don't know. You've silenced me.
Ian.
Yeah, I go along with really what everyone else is saying. I find it, I enjoyed it, and I think it's got a lot of promise. I think there's some real things that could develop from these, like the characters. But I do agree that it needs a bit more of a punch right at the beginning. We need to see something different rather than this cozy conversation. Okay, it's a wedding, there's a pregnancy and all this, but something else. And Samuel's character would sort of jump out as being that key element. You could just, as you say, Angela, can make something of that. And I think that's really what's missing. That's all that's missing at this stage, because I want to know what's happening next. You know, I like to see these characters develop.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm not sure if, see, for me, it's too obvious that Samuel's going to be the inverted commas bad. I'm just thinking it might be Robert because he's the quiet one. And what is this enemies within? Is it the IRA?
Yeah.
Because they're in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
You know, and he's fighting for the British Army, but we don't know what Robert does.
Yeah.
I mean, is Robert a member of the IRA? Big questions, big questions.
Yeah.
But it just says episode 1, so we don't know if this is a pilot. I mean, have the characters been established in a pilot?
Well, episode 1 is usually a pilot anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
But hence needing a cast at the beginning to grab us. It's like at the moment it's like it could be a bit of daytime telly at the moment.
Yes,
And
I get
it's the difference between it being a daytime telly and, you know, Sunday night
Well,
big show.
I was going to say, I don't think you can have a character like Samuel on daytime telly. He's definitely a watershed character.
Oh yeah, yeah. But at the moment, it
Without a
reads
doubt.
very, very sort of nice.
Yeah.
Even though there's
Yeah.
dark stuff going on.
I mean, I've already written the next 10 pages in my head, and Samuel's definitely a sharp kind of character. You know, you're going to hear him saying "bastard" every second word.
Emma.
Is it my turn? I haven't got a lot to say. And I think it's interesting how often when something, you know, seems to be working, that we've got less to say than when it isn't, because we can't intervene so much, I suppose. But yeah, I want to know what happens next. You know, it's likable at the moment. The characters are, the relationships seem to read. You know, again, like I suppose it seems everybody, I would quite like to see where the darkness lies in this. We've got a lot of, to me, sunlight and roses, and you know, this lulling, you know, Irishness of it. And I'd be very interested to know, you know, kind of where the shadows are. Is it all set in 1886? If it's set in, if it's based on a true story, is there some, you know, kind of parallel thread that goes through in the present or sometime, you know, subsequent to 1886? I think the days might be there for costume and stuff like that, you know, like you get sometimes on, you know, or on call sheets and stuff, but I think, you know, probably not needed at this point. And I think I'm interested to know what happens next. The language to me didn't jump out as being wrong. It didn't seem to be trying to be self-consciously of its time.
Nobody said okay.
Yeah, lunch again jumped out at me as being unlikely. But yeah, the rest of it, I kind of thought it had that nice plainness to it that you think could be perhaps from, you know, our version of Any Time.
You felt themselves safe hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, like she drafted it a few times, at least this bit. It's not like it's you know, somebody's just dashed down a few words.
Get the sense that yes, you know what you're doing.
She does, but as you've been talking, and what you said about Samuel, John, I've been thinking about these characters. Samuel's Robert's brother. I just look back, and he's his older brother. And he's been away, so he's in the army, so he's been on duty, presumably, because his father says the prodigal son returns, etc. Now, if he's a bit of a lad, a Jack the Lad, or, you know, he's a bit of a rogue, do you not think, I would have thought that Robert would have, at some point, spoken to his intended, and I'm confused as to which of the women is his intended. Elizabeth. Would have mentioned this would have been a topic of conversation, surely, about my bloody, not in these words, but, you know, my brother's, you know, done this, or this has happened, or, you know, just as a bit of gossip more than anything, you know,
watch yourself.
Stay away, watch yourself around him, you know, or something. And then we've got Elizabeth's going to have surely had conversations with her sister, or if she's not mentioned it, at the point that her sister says, well, we're getting married, as surely her sister would have gone, oh my God, not to him, you know. I mean, there's a lot in there, isn't there, that you can back. I'm thinking they're all going along with this very cozily, very too easy almost.
Well, I mean, the reputation might precede Samuel purely and simply because he is in the army.
Well, you just don't know. And what I'm thinking is,
I don't think you can assume that he's got that kind of.
Well, no, this is the thing,
because he's an officer.
Yeah.
And in 1886, you know, to be an officer, you had to be a gentleman as well. But
there is, the more I think about this, the more it's making me slightly unsettled. The mother goes along with it far too easily as well, don't you think? Don't you think the mother would be saying, but you don't even know, man. No, we know nothing about him. Yes, he's his brother. But what do we know about him?
Or maybe these conversations took place on day 2 and 3.
No, this is the thing. The missing days 2 and 3. I think they're really important.
I mean, I figured
everything was sorted out.
I figured out quite early what day 1 to 4 was about. It's the fact that Samuel's only home for those days.
Yeah. Well, yes, but I think in that case we need days 2 and 3.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Samuel's going to.
I don't
I'm not
know.
sure.
Maybe this is all unpacked in the subsequent pages that we haven't read.
I was just saying, I'm not sure Samuel's going to survive this anyway, because there was a very high casualty rate in the Burmese War.
And
Because
we know that people did get married on a whim and going to war and everything. But I don't think the mother's going to go along with that. Or if she is, she's going to create much more stink, particularly the mother.
If they're married and he gets killed. If they're married and he gets killed, with him being an officer and a gentleman, she's then entitled to a widow's pension, which would have been a whole £1.10 a year. I
think I need to read the rest of it.
I think that's the bit of the drama we need, though, like Rory was saying.
Oh, we need all of this. We need all of it, all the episodes.
Well, Samuel would have to keep Elizabeth away from his brother and Sarah Jane if she was in on it, and her own mum, and almost sort of turn up at the wedding and say we're getting married. And I think that would be another way of doing it if everybody knew that he was a bad un, and she went along with it anyway, because I think her mother probably would be protective, wouldn't she, even if it was like, ooh, good money in that.
I think she
does say to the other daughter, me and your dad were like that.
Emphasizing that when they got married, him for 5 minutes. What's happened? She'd not said any more than a few lines to the guy, and suddenly she's marrying him. You've not even gone to him.
I mean, Jesus, woman, have you never...
days 2 and 3?
Yeah,
everything happened in days 2 and 3.
A cup of tea and that's it. They're off.
Say, Jesus, woman, have you never been to Ireland? I mean, it happens in the bloody airport for crying out loud.
Well, I think
I need days 2 and 3. I
think what we can conclude is it certainly sparked a vigorous conversation and intrigue. So well done, Sarah.
Exactly, Sarah.
No, definitely.
We need days 2 and 3. Okay.
Well done, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Thank